It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for, by Robert T. Kiyosaki.
Hi you guys, and thank you so much for checking out this week's video. Today in this video, I want to show you guys and really talk to you about something super important. It is about how to manage your personal finances. I'm gonna create a separate video of how to manage your business finances, but for starters, and I'm gonna just, pull up my sleeves here because let's get to work. Are you guys ready? I feel like this is something that is absolutely needs to be taught in school. This is something I'm going to make such a focus in teaching my son so he never will have problems managing his current money and his current income. Because if you cannot manage your money right now, then you won't be able to manage your money once you are gaining wealth as you go along. Or it's really hard to actually start growing wealth if you're not able to manage your money. And what I mean by that is if you're constantly really living just, from paycheck to paycheck, you never grow an emergency fund and then from there on an investment fund and stuff like that. If you really just kind of live with what you got right now and then every month you're starting fresh, you're consistently in this hamster wheel and it becomes so hard, sometimes, which it doesn't need to be. Let me just say this right now, it doesn't need to be. And I'm going to show you just how I'm and my husband and I, so our family, how we really have figured out from really struggling with budgeting, if you want to call it that. Like we like to kind of call it more managing our money, because I think with budgeting, it's oftentimes it has such a kind of restrictive feeling to it. So we're going to talk about that too. But I'm going to walk you guys through it. So I'm going to change my screens right now and let you guys see my computer and walk you through how the Excel spreadsheets is simply how we're using them. But really, I'm hoping that this will be very simple for you guys to kind of just use and really simple for you guys to understand. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you do like this information, only if you like this information, and let's get started.
Now, I'm sure some of you guys, since you have been watching this channel right now and this YouTube video as well, clicked on it, familiar with Kiyosaki and his teachings. Now, I cannot even tell you how important it is to actually learn that skill of what it means to not only, of course, create or make money, but to actually manage your money and to learn how to hold your money, right? And how to hold space for even more income coming your way, how to invest and all this kind of stuff. So I've become really, really so passionate about this because, years ago or for years, in my own business, I've made just simply very good money. But then at the end of the month, I just realized there was nothing else left, regardless of how my income was growing. And so I realized that there was something like a skill that I just didn't know about. And that's exactly what it was. It was essentially how to kind of really correctly manage my money so it's working for me, like the management of how I'm managing is working for me, as well as my money is working for me. Now, in this video right now, I really wanted to show you guys kind of what my husband and I, so my husband Ben and I, are doing on a weekly basis and then also on an overall monthly basis to really manage our money and to make sure that we continuously keep growing the money that we're holding, not only in our savings accounts, but also in our investment accounts. And so this is not an investing video per se, but in just showing you an idea or a version of how you can go about budgeting your money. Now, first of all, what we do is when we, for instance, about every quarter, we look over our set budget. And so I'm just showing you our set budget already right now. There will be some different things that you're going to see. Don't look at the numbers so precisely. It's going to be different for you as well. But in essence, the spreadsheet is just kind of listing off the kind of expenses that we have, or the expenses we're expecting. And then we're breaking it down what we have to pay. And from this, we have fixed monthly expenses, right, that we have. And then we also have fluid monthly expenses or true expenses, meaning that oftentimes, how you want to buy Christmas presents in December and you feel like you never have enough money for them, or not that you don't have enough money for it, you might be using a credit card for it, as a lot of people in the first world countries do, actually, according to statistics. But the thing is also then the reason why it takes such a dip in your maybe savings is because you haven't pre-planned for it. And that's essentially what this budget is about too, is that you want to pre-plan for it. You don't want to just know the set expenses that you have that you will have to pay, right? And there's some urgent ones like rent and water and groceries that you need need, and then there's maybe like some additional ones like your Netflix subscription that you might not need, but you want to pay for it, have it as an expense every single month. Do you see what I'm saying? So it just really becomes very important to understand these fluctuations and also list in your budget and maybe Christmas presents, but then divided by 12 based on what you typically spend for Christmas presents in December. And then make sure that you're reserving this money in your essentially budget, and you know that this is also part of the money that you want to have available. So what we're doing then is we're going to every single week, we have like a money date set aside that we personally do on Sunday. You can pick whatever date works for you. And so if you are, of course, single, you're doing this and taking your responsibility, on your own. If you are in a shared partnership, in whatever form of partnership it is, where there are adults involved that have to take responsibility for money and finances and paying stuff, then each of the people, right, in my opinion, have to be involved, right? For instance, growing up, my dad was actually always managing the money, and he just ended up giving my mom an allowance every single month that she had to live off of and pay for stuff, like if we were going out with my mom to get some ice cream or whatever it is. So that is like completely like old school. And if you're a woman right now and you're listening to this, let me tell you that this is something that, even though it might intimidate you and you might feeling like you're in over your head when it comes to finances and budgeting, all this kind of stuff, like just know that it is absolutely not. It's just something that like a lot of society wanted us to believe or made us believe. And also if you are a guy listening to this, right, and you just maybe come from that kind of background where this was not necessarily something that has been mastered, and therefore been the cause or the root of like many arguments and whatever it is, but just know like that this is just simply almost like a skill or a language that you just want to learn to master, and it takes practice, it takes times, and it just it takes also understanding why this is so important. And I hope with the initial quote I showed you why this is so important too. So I want to show you what we're doing on these quote unquote money dates, and we have them actually scheduled in our shared family Google Calendar for every Sunday. And like what we do is very simple, and it takes about like half an hour to do this, so it doesn't take much time, but it makes an insane amount of difference, and I just really want you to know that. And so what we're doing is we're going to each of our different bank account sites and also our trading and investment sites, and then we're logging in. And I'm not going to show you this right now, but you can do it yourself. So log in to your, for instance, Cheese business account, or wherever you are in the world. I'm sure your bank has hopefully an online website. So you are logging in, and then you're essentially downloading the transactions of the past week. Okay. And once you're downloading the transactions of the past week, you're just ending up sort of going through a Google spreadsheet. And then you just, as you can tell, we have it for each month, and we're adding on to each week to them. And just for privacy reasons, I'm not going to show you exactly our transactions, but it essentially like just combines all of the different downloads from our different bank accounts together into one spreadsheet. And then what you're doing is you're organizing the spreadsheet, and you're categorizing the different expense or the different income. And what I'm doing then is I'm going over to, and this is our set finance personal Google Excel budgeting sheet that we've used since, as you can tell, 2018. I showed you when I first started creating it. And so what you're doing then is you're going back to your spreadsheet where all of the expenses are listed, the name of the expense based on the set budget that we had originally, right? So if you're calling it, transportation or gas or car, whatever it is, you categorize it with that name. And the same thing is that you have to make sure on this budgeting sheet, which is actually like a very interesting third, but very crucial step, you set it as the same name, so you're not getting confused. Do you see this? So then you're going back to your spreadsheet again, and you're taking, for instance, a number, you're counting together, and you do it with your phone calculator. If you're a Excel spreadsheet wizard, you're adding all up, for instance, like the cafe contract or whatever it is, fees. And then you're putting the final addition, the number, into that correct field, right? So say if you're a business owner, or if you have a salary or whatever it is, depending on that, the category will change. And then you're going to go ahead and you just add the combined numbers. So say you're making, I don't know, $10,000 a month, or and please know this is obviously like just very subjectable. So just I'm picking a random number that you guys are making together, maybe as a family. Okay, so however big or small your family is, how many adults are in it or whatever, just add that number to it. Then these are like categorizations, of course, for my husband and me, because we have online products and programs as well, and that we're running, as well as affiliate income and investments. So because we are business owners, we have a few more fields. If you just have a corporate salary and you maybe have some stock investments, you have 2 fields, right? So based on that, you need to adjust this, okay? And I'm gonna share this income spreadsheet in the description sections of this video, of course, as I mentioned, of course, in the title as well. So you can take this, and please then you go ahead on file and you make a copy. Please don't edit on the original spreadsheet at all, so it can stay clean for everyone. And now then you go ahead and let's say we have 10 grand here. You see the net income then has been added here automatically. I added a formula here so you can see it right away. So you don't need to mess with this at all. And then you're adding, let's say, $2,000 rent and utilities, I don't know, 300. I'm adding random numbers here, so don't judge me. Like, based on where you live, they can look very similar or a lot different, or I don't know what it is. And obviously now with, this time we're living in, there's some different costs for restaurants, maybe nothing than what you're used to or whatever. So just like adjusted. Groceries, maybe a lot more, which is funny. And then savings. So what were you able to save in that month? Maybe you haven't used all of your, income for like some sort of expenses, but you were able to save some stuff too. So let's say we're going to add some stuff here, and so on and so on. You're going through, right? Like dental we had, because we had to have done this, your health insurances, car payment, shopping. These are just to give you some ideas of usually the kind of expense categories or brackets that people have, right? You have, this is toll roads, not tool roads, which is really funny. But then personal development, phone, if you have dogs or cats or any other pets, travel, typically home care. We usually say if we want to upgrade our couch or whatever it is, that kind of stuff. Personal care, shampoos, lotions, if you use them, professional fees, bank fees, credit card payments, all this kind of stuff. If you have a business, you can add it. If you have still a business, I would say that, and by no means I'm a financial advisor, just so you know this, I'm just sharing with you what works and really hoping to add some value with you, that you might try this and it's working for you too, which I really, really would love. So essentially if you have a startup business or a relatively very small business and you're not like making yet a more substantial amount of money, then you can add on your quote unquote business, like your software that you're spending and your ads to your personal stuff too. If you are having a business, I can show you right away, because we are dividing this up between actually also our cash flow forecast, which we're also doing on Sunday. So we are usually just essentially also writing out and down what we are projecting based on like what services we're offering right now, what courses we're offering, what launches we're making, and all this kind of stuff, right? Ads we're spending and so on. And you can add this to this and really like get into some cash flow forecast as well. Let me know if you want me to do this more in particular, if you're also a fellow business owner, and drop it in the comments here, and I will record a separate video on that. But essentially with the finances, with the financial one, this was pretty much like it. You can see then here the net expenses. If you would fill out the entire category, equals, let's say 6,800, and then you're in plus 3,200. And so the total monthly budget, the 6,800, should always equal essentially what you are seeing here that you have set as a set budget every quarter. So for instance, for us, it's a little more, but like, you want this to be the same. And then you have here the difference, right? So meaning that with this money, then you can go ahead and, for instance, watch my investing video or that kind of stuff, or really like learn and understand what you can do with that extra money to really grow multi-generational wealth. If this is what you want, or you're going to go and have fun with it. But no, seriously, if you are disciplined right now and you're really kind of doing this, I can tell you, you're going to live a life that is so much more maybe also fulfilled in your later years, because you're not going to be crippled from anxiety because you cannot, spend an additional money on extra healthcare that you need in old age or whatever it is. So it's just really important. And there's this quote, and I can't exactly remember how it goes. I'm going to look it up and add it to the description sections. But it essentially is about how there's always you always have two choices in life, right? Because we will experience pain, so to speak, either way. So either you have the pain of discipline or you have the pain of regret. And the pain of discipline is far, 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 far less than the pain of regret. And if you're thinking right now about the next 10 years and you're not happy with your financial situations in numerous ways, and one of them being that you just cannot know right now yet, or you just haven't mastered the skill yet of managing and growing your money based on the salary or the income that you have right now. So not even speaking about growing your income, but just managing the existing money that you have and growing that. Then, if you're not changing anything right now, if you're not going through this sort of pains of figuring first out how to do this and feeling awkward at first, but then slowly acquiring it, kind of like I said, when you learn a language and you would move to a different country and at first it would be super awkward. Maybe, for me, it was like that when I moved to South Korea for study abroad, and it was it was so awkward. But then after 8 months, all of a sudden I started speaking and I could have conversations and that kind of stuff. So just think about it like that, right? You just have to move through and have that sort of quote unquote pain at the beginning. And then you're gonna be amazed at what's possible. Now, I hope this video was helpful to you. Hit that subscribe button if it was. I would love for you to leave any comment if you have any questions. And I talk to you in the next video.